Well, welcome to the internationally known grind with Peanut the General. You're now Joseph live with the Hour with the Elders, where it's all love. What looks like deceiving, but our team is achieving. Nothing too big and nothing too small. Come on in, let's chit chat and talk about it all. Love, light, and blessings to you. Hey there, how y'all doing today?
Hey.
Good evening, good evening.
What's going on,
What's up, y'all? How
family?
y'all doing?
All right, how you?
Right?
How you?
Yeah, I'm
Doing?
good, OG. What's
What's
up,
up, y'all?
TD?
It's all good over here. It's all gravy, baby.
I
Ooh.
hear you.
What's up, everybody? I'm saying
What's going
great
on?
afternoon to everybody. Got a cute
And I just want to give y'all a heads up. I'm gonna stick around as long as I can. You did, but I might have to hop off in a little bit. You did, but I definitely want to be part of the conversation.
yes sir,
Oh,
yes
Better
for
sir.
miss
sure. For
time with
sure.
you than none at all.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? So we gonna get right into it. You heard me? Do you have a UG, we gonna let you kick it off, you know what I'm saying? Do you have a certain video that you want me to look up?
Um, I sent the links in the chat,
All right.
so we can use those.
All right, and you want to give us a little preview and a heads up of what the conversation tonight gonna be?
Well, pretty much we are piggybacking off of last week when nephew asked a question about drugs and alcohol
Mm-hmm.
affecting the spirit, but we really didn't have time to go into depth. So tonight we're going to be discussing how alcohol and drugs, when used in excess, like they are, they open up demonic portals to demonic spirits
Wow.
that can either completely take a hold of a person if they're an unsaved unbeliever, or they can influence the believer to do things that are demonic.
All right, I'm looking up the links.
Or shall I say demonic in, demonic in nature, demonic in character, that influence you to do things that you normally wouldn't do if you were in your right mind.
Right.
And that's what drugs and alcohol do. They alter the mind.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste, son. Better stop smoking.
Mhm.
Talk to me that. All right. So, all right. The spiritual effects of drugs and alcohol. A deep dive into drugs and alcohol. Dr. Jennifer Bowles' spiritual impact of it, intellect drug use. Which one you want? Which one, OG?
Oh man, I can't even because it's on the tablet. Go to the
That's Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing, Queen?
go to
Um,
let me see, hold up, I can find it right. Did I
So,
send you that did I send you the one on the dark history of alcohol?
dark history. I got what is called? Dark history of alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm gonna type it up. You hear me? So what is what? Damn, y'all saw that. So what is the dark history of alcohol, OG?
Certain alcohols, if you notice, are distilled. And
Yeah.
so what was being done way back in the day that they're probably still doing now by alchemists, they believe that the essence of um any liquid has a pretty much the essence of anything has a soul, especially when it comes to alcohol. So what they do, like vodka, for instance, you go to the alcohol store and you see certain bottles of vodka say distilled on them. That's
Yeah.
because they have pretty much um eliminated, extracted all of the water from it and taken it back to its most purest and strongest form. And alchemists believe that in that you bring out the essence, the soul, the life source of the alcohol and the individual who partakes of it in excess.
I know I don't watch people drink vodka that I know, and they be ready to fight when they get full of that vodka.
Hmm.
that
For
white get
real.
you hype, that
I mean,
brown
I
get you
know
down.
family. I know family like that. When they get full of that vodka, they be ready to slap the piss out somebody.
uh, with the all right, look, don't judge me. How you spell alcohol?
Oh boy, I'm about to rip you, boy.
No, son, don't let him rib you.
I'm about to rip you,
We gonna break
boy.
this down. We gonna
Boy,
break
them
this
New Orleans
down.
public schools did you dirty, boy.
Boy, who was in a science class, boy, what you gonna rip me for? It's the teacher fault.
ALCOHOL, son.
What it is?
Oh, that's my fault.
What it is?
ALCOHOL.
ALCOHOL.
Now say ALCO HOL. Alcohol.
Search that thing there, man. This one, OG?
What does it say?
They say the dog.
Building your online business?
Hold up.
Go to
If it says the dark history of alcohol, that's it.
single integrated platform. Do you know about alcohol's dark spiritual history?
Alcohol and demonic possession. Why alcohol called spirits?
It's called the dark history of alcohol.
Oh, all right. This is the dark side of alcohol. My bad. Let's see. That's what I typed in. The dark history of alcohol.
I just sent a link to your page.
I need to turn this phone.
See, that's the only thing that's coming up. You sent it to my inbox?
I sent it to your messenger.
Yeah, that's what I had. That's what it was. There it go. All right.
Do you know about alcohol's dark spiritual history? Let's find out in today's video. Alcohol is so common in our society. Most people don't pause to think about the dark side of drinking alcohol. It is actually no secret among spiritual practitioners that alcohol is spiritually harmful and lowers your vibration. Why do you think it is legal, mass-produced and promoted across all of modern society? Many religions warn about the effects of alcohol. Islam specifically forbids its consumption. Suraya Al-Maida Taiti states, "O you who believe that intoxicants are but define them from the work of Satan, so avoid it, that you may be successful." Buddhism teachings also advise against alcohol consumption. The fifth precept in Buddhism states, "I undertake the precept to refrain from intoxicating drinks." To understand its harm, let's first review the history of alcohol. The word alcohol comes from the Arabic al-kil, which means body-eating spirit. The current Arabic name for alcohol is another spelling of al-ghul, meaning demon. It is also linked to the star known as Aljan, which means the demon's head.
Oh.
Alcohol distillation was founded by early alchemists who were developing techniques to extract the spirits of a liquid. They believed that all matter contained a living essence, and that alcohol could be used to extract this essence from other materials.
Who
In a
think of
symbolic
shit
sense,
like this?
alcohol has always been intended to extract the soul essence of an entity. This is very similar to what actually happens when we consume alcohol. When we consume too much alcohol, it essentially acts to extract our soul. That is why people who consume excessive amounts of alcohol always black out, not remembering what happened. In this vulnerable state, our body becomes susceptible to the influence of low-vibration negative entities. When someone goes dark after drinking alcohol, their body often becomes possessed. Once the entities have taken hold of the body, it is used to play out all kinds of dark acts, violence and low-level sexual encounters. How many times have someone you know gotten drunk and behaved in a dark manner? Spiritual master Paramahansa Yogananda describes similar observations in his book Man's Eternal Life. He recalls encountering non-benevolent spirits in the presence of intoxicated individuals. In terms of physical harm, ingesting alcohol also depresses the nervous system, kills brain and liver cells, and weakens the immune system. Yet still, it is mass promoted and supported by society. Why do you think that is so? Really, it is no coincidence we call certain alcoholic beverages spirits. The elite have to leave these telltale signs to alleviate their karma for misleading us. What should you do if you enjoy alcohol? Fret not, all things in moderation. Don't worry, there is little harm as long as the drinking is kept in moderation. Personally, I have stopped drinking for years. I enjoy ordering juices, tea, and protein shakes instead. Now you know, there is truly a dark history behind this intoxicating substance. This concludes our mini-series on the dark history of alcohol. Hope you have enjoyed learning about this. Remember to like this video, subscribe.
Break it down, OG.
Basically, what he's telling you is what it said in the beginning. Alcohol, or in the Arabic, alcohol. Alcohol eats away at the body. It's a body-eating spirit. It causes damage to the liver, to the brain, to the nervous system, messes with your motor skills when you overconsume, causes you to act and speak unseemly. Why you think you always hear that saying, a drunk mind speaks a sober tongue?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not in your right mind. You have become
It give you
completely,
that heart. It give you that heart.
yeah, you have become completely uninhibited and controlled by an entity that is of another realm.
It's not God.
That's not God. And so you have made yourself vulnerable and susceptible to that spirit, that demon, playing with you however it so chooses.
So it says to do everything in moderation, right? At what
Mhm.
point does drinking go from entertainment to a sin?
Well, anything, whether it be alcohol, drugs, TV, food, anything that we give more attention to than we give to God, anything that we spend more time with or doing than we do with God, that's when you are in a danger zone. Because God said there shall be no other God before him. And that's not simply meaning in the physical form of a human being. That means anything.
How do a person drinking a lot of alcohol and a lot of people a lot of time they say I'm okay, I'm all right. How do they know they're alcoholic when they keep telling themselves that they're okay, they're all right? I got this here, I got this. When they not take accountability to the fact that it's taking control of me. I no longer have control of it.
I can't really answer that per individual, but just giving it a general educated guess from a biblical perspective, I would say that's because when you overconsume like that and it becomes habit where you're drinking daily, it's no longer you who are in control. You're being controlled and manipulated by that demon to drink whenever it tells you to. Basically, whenever that demon is hungry for alcohol, it is going to do whatever to get you to partake. And that's how that operates. So really, it is hard for someone like that without spiritual guidance, without fasting and praying, to break that that demonic influence. It is said that though that is one of the hardest addictions to break: pornography, drugs, and sex.
You're right when you say, "Oh, it would do it whatever it take to get you to partake of it." Because I know people who, when they didn't have a drink, they would go in. I don't know if y'all know. You probably know G about DTs or DDTs when you have seizures and all that when you couldn't get your alcohol and you feel
Uh-huh.
all nervous. Yeah,
Yeah, it's withdrawal symptoms.
It's
yeah,
withdrawal.
yeah.
You took it, yeah. It's withdrawal. Yeah. And the same thing, with any type of drug, especially like mushrooms, crack, powder cocaine, methamphetamine.
Hallucinogenics.
Yeah, any hallucinogenic.
Hmm.
It's mind altering, and I can't call the scientific name for it, but what it does, it basically, I believe,
It's a it's called antipsychotics.
it shuts down the left side of the brain. I do believe it is,
Psychotics.
and when those demons get to working, everything they're influencing you with is poured into the more analytical, logical side of the brain. And the more you consume these things, the more you begin to retain those influences, those habits, and you act them out in your everyday lifestyle until you break that, until you break that influence, that
With
bondage that is on you.
with some people with it, you said spiritual. Do you think it becomes like a generational curse? Like you got a family that drinks and the children come up watching them drinking and everybody drinking.
Yeah, addictions can be passed down, just like trauma can be passed down through what is known as epigenetics. Trauma and bad habits, they say, are passed down from slavery to right now, this very day, through our DNA. It doesn't completely change the structure of the DNA, but I believe they said it does something to shift it in some kind of way, and we retain trauma from past generations that we aren't even aware of. And if triggered by a certain situation that causes us trauma, we not only act out our own traumas, but those of the ancestors that have been passed down as well. But there are documentaries on YouTube about epigenetics too that you can look more into. But definitely, it can be passed down as a generational curse for sure.
Throughout the Middle Ages, the proto-science of alchemy was fervently practiced by many. Experimenting with all manner of materials, alchemists sought to create the fabled philosopher's stone, to turn base metals into noble metals such as gold, and sought the secrets of the elixir of eternal life. A key process of alchemy and later chemistry was that of distillation. Here, a liquid, often a solution, is boiled, and the vapors from that boiling rapidly cool to form another liquid, the distilled liquid. This process was relatively easily accomplished, and was, and still is, a way of refining elements in chemistry. Alchemists believed that distillation captured a substance's essence, or its spirit. Experiments with distillation led to the development of concentrated or distilled wines. And certainly by 1437, brandy is recorded in county records in medieval Germany. Brandy, or to give it its full name, brandy wine, comes from the Dutch for burnt wine. So, while alchemists may not have discovered gold or the elixir of life eternal, distillation, or the capturing of spirits, led to the development of numerous golden elixirs, which for many make life worth living.
All right. So, OG.
Yes, sir.
How do they prove that alcoholism is directly connected to spirits and all of that? Where in the Bible does it tell you that?
Where in the Bible does it tell you what?
That spirits are connected to alcohol.
The Bible isn't going to directly tell you that spirits are connected to alcohol. Proverbs, 3rd chapter. I think that's the 3rd chapter. Proverbs, 31st chapter, verses 4 through 5. It is not for kings, Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, not for rulers to crave beer, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed and deprive all the oppressed of their right. Now, I've never done a deep dive on that particular passage of scripture. So in winging it, basically what it's saying is, in a sober mind, a king decrees freedom to those he has oppressed. But then when he gets drunk, because he has had these people enslaved for X amount of years, and he has some type of contempt and disdain towards them, now that he's drunk, he's truly speaking what he's really feeling in his heart. Again, drunk mind speaking a sober tongue. So now that he's drunk, he's speaking his truth, going back on what he promised, depriving those who he oppressed of their freedom, thereby putting them back in slavery. And there are other passages of scripture that'll tell you, be not drunk with wine, but be filled with the Holy Spirit. Again, because when you're drunk off of wine, it is not you in your right mind. It is not you controlling you. All of your cognitive skills, all your motor skills are being controlled by another realm, outside entities, because you are not drinking at that point in moderation any longer. You are drinking solely for pleasure and overconsumption, which is a sin. And when you give way to sin, you give way to demons. You invite them in.
How many drinks do a person drink before they consider themselves drunk? Anybody know?
It's everybody's different. Everybody's
Everybody,
tolerance is
yeah,
different. You know, everybody's the enzymes in your brain react to different things, to different alcohols. I mean, you may get completely bent off of one shot of vodka, but you know, it take you 10 beers to feel, you know, drunk in another manner. So I mean, it's different for everybody. You know,
for
it's
different
definitely different
people.
for
Yeah.
everybody. Nah, because I mean, I've never really been a heavy drinker. I mean, I do partake socially at times, but I've never drank to the point where I would be considered drunk or completely out my body, where I'm not, you know, I lose cognition or don't remember what happened the day before. But I got friends who they become completely different people. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
excuse. I'm sorry. I just thought
No,
about
you all
something.
right.
Finish. I finished. I'm gonna tell y'all.
Oh no, I
Finish.
was I was done.
Oh,
No, that's all I was
no.
saying. I was just saying, like,
That's
I mean,
that's why
I
Greg.
understand what OG's saying. Yeah.
That's why Greg not on here. That's why nephew not on here because he just got drunk. He just got wasted.
Oh, he just
So
man, he
he
out
can
his
tell us
body.
more about this here.
Yeah, he out his body right now.
man.
See, I'm not a drinker. I don't know. I never have been a drinker or not drunk, so I don't. I really don't know.
I used to
I
drink. I
used to
don't
drink,
anymore.
but like when you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying? And that's why God said that He will reveal Himself to His people. You know what I'm saying? When you younger, you really only doing it because the people you around doing it because you have no connection to it. You see what I'm saying? Other than to try it because of somebody else is doing it, whether it be a family member or whether it be somebody who you around, you know what I'm saying? But you don't know the ramifications of it. You don't know that that you gotta eat first, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right,
you don't know things like is attached to spirits and spirits attached to you. So when you know better, you do better, you know what I'm saying? We didn't know what we was doing back in the G. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just a high. It's more than just making you feel good. It's what about it that's making you feel good, and it's not of this world. Anything that takes, like OG said, a hallucinogenic, you know what I'm saying?
hmm
That's another being taking over your body, and I think that medicine is witchcraft in a way because most of the side effects or the effects of the medicine have on you is hallucinogenic. You see what I'm saying?
right,
Especially pain medicine because it doesn't cure you. It just tricks the nerve in your brain to make it think that everything is all right for that moment, but it's not a really a cure, and that's kind of like witchcraft, right? OG.
Yeah. And think about this too. Notice how they always tell you drink in moderation and drink water when you drink.
Right.
Alcohol dehydrates the body, which is made up of the vast majority of water.
Time for your physiology. Is it better to day drink or drink at night? When you drink a shot of vodka, 20% of the alcohol is absorbed by the stomach, 80% in the small intestine, where it goes into your bloodstream, then to your liver to be metabolized. Ethanol gets into cells by passive diffusion, so the more you drink, the faster you get drunk. And when alcohol accumulates and finally gets to your brain, it suppresses the excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate, which causes information transfer in the brain to become slower, with only the largest signals making it through. You feel less, perceive less, notice less, and remember less. So a check for drinking at night is that day drinking alcohol won't allow you to complete your daily tasks. A check for day drinking is that we've been doing it for millions of years. Known as the drunk
I'm coming.
monkey hypothesis, the only reason you're able to drink alcohol right now dates back to a gene mutation that occurred 10 million years ago in your ancestors. A monkey-looking eutherian mammal, which is the common ancestor to you and the chimpanzee, of course, had a mutation in their enzyme, alcohol dehydrogenase, which made...
Is this true?
I don't know.
Is this true, OG?
What did he say? I was reading something on the body makeup and water. What did he say?
Hold up.
in their life. It's an extremely popular drug that decreases specific neuronal excitation in your brain with biological byproducts that have a huge impact on your body. So if you're wanting to partake in a bevy, short for beverage, is there an ideal time for your physiology? Is it better to day drink or drink at night? When you drink a shot of vodka, 20% of the alcohol is absorbed by the stomach, 80% in the small intestine, where it goes into your bloodstream, then to your liver to be metabolized. Ethanol gets into cells by passive diffusion, so the more you drink, the faster you get drunk. And when alcohol accumulates and finally gets to your brain, it suppresses the excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate, which causes information transfer in the brain to become slower, with only the largest signals making it through. You feel less, perceive less, notice less, and remember less. So a check for drinking at night is that day drinking alcohol won't allow you to complete check for day drinking is that we've been doing it for millions of years. Known as the drunk monkey hypothesis, the only reason you're
That's right there, OG.
alcohol right now dates back to a gene mutation.
I couldn't make out what he said, but I don't know nothing about no monkeys or no hypothesis.
Eutherian mammal, which is the common ancestor to you and the chimpanzee, of course, had a mutation in their enzyme, alcohol dehydrogenase, which made this enzyme 40 times more effective at metabolizing alcohol. This specific mutation in the alcohol dehydrogenase meant that no longer would small amounts of alcohol be poisonous.
Is that true?
I could
I
believe it.
don't know.
I could believe it metabolize in your liver because people be dying from cirrhosis of the liver after they drinking so much.
But I do know alcohol highly affects the liver.
Right? Yeah, people die from that cirrhosis.
Yep,
But
cirrhosis
now
of
could be
the
a
liver.
viable energy source. This hypothesis also recognizes that around 10 million years ago was when our common ancestors stopped living in the trees and began living on the ground. This new mutated alcohol metabolizing enzyme was beneficial as it made the copious amounts of fermenting fruit on the forest floor accessible as a new dietary niche. Essentially, mutations sound bad, but sometimes they allow us humans to get absolutely sloshed, bro. And our ancestors were likely eating these fermented fruits during the day. They were also getting lots of new energy. But
What
while
these
drinking
people say
alcohol can
anything.
increase your caloric energy, and while day drinking you might be like, can I goody, like shots on the patio energy, like woohoo! That will quickly go away and you will become a lethargic afternoon mess, which kind of creates a check for drinking at night. Any excited extroversion you feel while drinking is due to the suppression of brain firing in the prefrontal cortex. This part of your brain controls your impulses and restrains behavior. Therefore, alcohol suppressing this inhibitory.
That's what you was talking about, the left side of your brain, OG?
Yeah, front, but I think you said frontal cortex, I believe. But that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Part of your brain causes you to loosen up and become a bit more extroverted. For example, once while drunk, I became very extroverted and invited everyone in my university residence into my tiny room to have a dance party. And while blasting Kesha's "This is so good," the floor almost caved in. The cops were called, and I was fined for having an illegal rave. America, we are endowed by our Creator.
Shut up.
But this drunk extroversion won't last long due to your liver. In your liver is where the famous enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase lives, and it breaks down the ethanol into acetaldehyde. The buildup of acetaldehyde causes incoordination, memory problems, and sleepiness. So day drinking leads to these byproducts building up in your body during the day, causing you to lose coordination, forget things, and become sedated. In fact, drinking during the day is related to higher injuries in sports, which seems a little obvious. All of this is a check for drinking at night. Perhaps the biggest point for day drinking, or rather the point against night drinking, is that it negatively affects your sleep. Since we now know that alcohol inhibits the excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate, when alcohol leaves your system, the brain kind of overcorrects, and there's a rebound of glutamate, which leads to excitability and irritation. Drinking at night means this excitable rebound happens when you're trying to sleep. This ends up dismantling your sleep through the night, cutting it up into tiny little bits, and actually interrupting your sleep cycle in a way that a lot of people don't even realize is happening. But you may be saying, but alcohol helps me get to sleep. But electrical brainwaves show that sleeping while intoxicated is not natural sleep. It's more sedative, similar to anesthesia. In fact, alcohol is one of the strongest sedatives of the interval REM sleep, the type of sleep which causes dreams. When the liver metabolizes alcohol, it produces ketones and aldehydes. The aldehydes block the brainwaves needed to generate this powerful REM dream sleep, which can have astounding effects. REM sleep is so essential for a lot of functions in your body and brain, including memory and association. One study got a group of college students together to study them for a week. On day one, they learned a novel computer programming language or a new form of algebra. By the end of day one, they were tested and all had a proficiency of understanding around 90%. Over the coming week, a control group slept naturally, a second group got a little drunk every night before bed on 2 to 3 shots of vodka, which was based on their body weight, and a third group slept naturally on day 1 to 2, and then had alcohol before bed starting on day 3. 7 days later, and they were all tested again. People in the control group without alcohol at night remembered everything they had learned and showed enhanced abstraction action and retention of knowledge. The group who drank before bed since day 1 forgot more than 50% of their knowledge, and the group that started drinking after day 2 forgot around 40% of their knowledge. So day drinking actually allows your body enough time to metabolize the alcohol so you can get a good sleep. A check for day drinking for sure.
All right, so what y'all saying, right, OG, is that everything that we go through and the ramifications that we go through from drinking is really the spirits, like the groggy feeling that we have, the forgetfulness, the everything that they explain, is that the spirits?
It had some of it is just strictly to do with your health because you're consuming things that you shouldn't. Excuse me, but the vast majority of it has significant and heavy spiritual connotations behind it. Yes.
Facts. So what could you do if you spiritually, right? If you have a drinking problem, like everybody has, what should you do spiritually?
I would get with a spiritual advisor who's truly rooted in the word. And again, the Bible says that some things only come out from fasting and praying. And that's what one would have to do to break addictions like that. Turn your plate over, deny yourself physical nourishment for as long as the body can stand it. And I'm not saying you have to go all day. There are certain types of fasts you can go on. You can go on a morning fast where you deny yourself breakfast and you spend that time in the Word, reading, praying, no TV, or you do it in the afternoon, or you can go on a Daniel fast, which is strictly vegetables, no meat. Um, if you consume more TV or music than you do the word, you can fast from that. It just has to be something that you genuinely like to partake of and spend a whole lot of time doing, because fasting is a sacrifice, and it has to be one that's genuine. If it doesn't hurt to sacrifice it, then it doesn't mean anything. You feel me? So you spend that time fasting, you spend that time praying, spend that time in the Word, seeking spiritual counsel from a strong, rooted spiritual advisor, and just trust God that in His time He's going to do the rest. But you have to put forth the effort.
So when people, like, some people get
And if need be, I'm sorry, and if need be, if it's to that extreme, sometimes it takes going and get professional help too.
so the throwing up and all of that, right? Is that the spirits too, or that's just the effects of what the
That's
spirit?
just that's just the effects of overconsumption,
So
and
how
your
do you?
body rejecting what it's not naturally supposed to partake of in that amount.
So at what point does drinking go from being something you do to something being spiritually wrong?
When it
Over
again
time.
when it becomes when it becomes priority, when it takes the place of your spiritual maturity and growth in Christ. Anything that is separating you continually from God, you need to put down and leave alone.
But a lot of people only have like a glass of wine or a couple of glasses of wine. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, to me
We aren't
personally, right?
talking about those people, though. We are talking about people who drink in moderation. We are talking about people who genuinely have addictive issues, addictive behavior.
But this is what
So,
I'm saying. When you drink that wine, whether it be one glass or two, you still get tipsy. You see what I'm
It
saying?
depends. It depends on the person. You
Okay.
know, everybody doesn't get tipsy off a glass of wine. Each person's tolerance level is different.
So if you're a person who drinks, and I know some people drink and they wait, when they wake up they hung over and they have to get another drink. People tell them to get another drink, they get over the hunger. That's considered a person that would be at an alcoholic state.
Yeah, they gone. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's an alcoholic for real.
Hmm.
People who drink like that,
Right.
they need help.
So we're gonna go to another video, you know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to see like at what point do the spirits like do they what do they do once they take it?
I can't tell you that. I don't know. I can't tell you how demonic spirits operate. All I know is that when you overindulge, you are in sin and you give them access. Now,
I can
what they choose to do, how they choose to do it, that's all on that particular entity.
can I tap in and talk about how while under the influence what kind of spirits possessed you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Miss Dorothy asked the question of some people get angry and argumentative and
Right.
want to fight. Um, that's a possession too, because you getting all angry and getting aggressive, and some possess sexual demons also. You get
Right.
aroused and want to get your arousal off no matter who it is. Don't know
Yep,
who you did it with after the end of the night. um some get sleepy, some get hungry, some get, but the worst ones is the aggressive angry ones and the sexual demons. So
right. Yep.
That's great, Ivy. That's a great point too you made.
And that's their sole purpose.
Sleep. Like what you drinking for? You going to sleep?
alcohol. Alcohol affects the body in many different ways. In this video, I will go through some of the ways in which alcohol can affect the body. Firstly, alcohol slows down the signals in the nerves and brain. I'm Dr. Frida, and today I'm giving you the top 5 dangers of how alcohol affects your body and brain. The dark side of drinking. Alcohol is so prevalent in our society. It's ubiquitous. It's literally everywhere. And it seems like it's usually associated with something positive and celebratory. If you go to a party, there's alcohol. If you go to a wedding, there's alcohol. If you go to a football game, a Christmas dinner, a bat mitzvah, a graduation celebration, if you're invited to the cookout, you get my point. There's alcohol. It's everywhere. But there is a dark side to drinking. According to the CDC, excessive alcohol use is the #1 cause of preventable death in the United States, and binge drinking accounts for 40% of those deaths. But even if you're not a binge drinker, if you're just a chronic drinker and you consider yourself to be a moderate alcohol user, you may actually be drinking excessive amounts of alcohol and you don't even know it. Even just everyday use of alcohol can lead to a multitude of health problems. It can even affect your sex life. So today, we're going to talk about it. I'm giving you the top 5 dangers of how alcohol affects your body and brain. The dark side of drinking. Keep watching. Be sure to download your copy of my book. It's called Under Pressure. It's your step-by-step guide on.
She said under pressure.
These sexual demons or these sexual spirits, right? Is alcohol the only way that they enter your body?
No, watching pornography, marijuana, I mean, any type of drug
Drugs.
and any type of drug, pornography, music that is sexually driven, all of that gives access to those demons.
I mean, when you even lust about somebody,
Yeah. Why you think the music in the industry now is so sexually deviant?
hmm,
How to control high blood pressure. This book is packed with valuable tools. Is the number one cause of preventable death in the United States. But what is excessive alcohol use? How many drinks? Well, first off, let's define what a drink of alcohol is. One drink is considered 12 ounces of beer, or 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of an 80 proof liquor. Okay, so excessive alcohol use includes drinking 8 or more drinks per week if you are a woman, or 15 or more drinks per week if you are a man. I don't make the gender discrepancy news, I just report it. It also includes binge drinking, which is defined as 4 or more drinks on one occasion for a woman, or 5 or more drinks on one occasion for a man. And binge drinking accounts for 40% of alcohol deaths due to excessive alcohol use, and 1 out of 6 Americans binge drinks. Excessive alcohol use also includes any pregnant woman drinking, or anyone under the age of 21. These are the CDC definitions. Number 1, increased risk for liver disease. Excessive alcohol can cause many types of liver disease, including cirrhosis, which is actually not reversible and can lead to fatal liver failure. Alcohol is the second leading cause of cirrhosis in the United States. Hepatitis C is the number 1 cause, and it's a real problem. So let's first talk about what the liver is, because it is a hugely important organ. So your liver is that organ located in the right upper part of your stomach. It just kind of peeks out right under the rib cage. It's responsible for filtering out excess toxins in the blood. It helps to make plasma proteins. It helps your blood to clot properly. It even aids your body in making hormones. It also helps to make vitamin D. So the liver is a big deal, but excessive alcohol use can really jack it up. It can really mess it up. The liver diseases that excessive alcohol use can cause include cirrhosis of the liver, fatty liver disease, hepatitis, and you can ultimately get liver failure and die. What is IgA nephropathy, and how do you know if you have it? IgA nephropathy. So, an increased chance for developing liver disease is one of the dangers of excessive alcohol use. Number 2, increased risk for heart disease. Excessive alcohol use can definitely lead to heart disease. One way is that it can cause a dilated cardiomyopathy. It can cause a big heart, but not in a good way. With the alcohol, the dilated cardiomyopathy means that you get stretched out heart muscles. They become floppy and they don't always beat in a regular fashion. So it can lead to you having arrhythmias or abnormal heart rhythms or even sudden death. Yes, all because of alcohol use. Excessive alcohol use can also lead to hypertension or high blood pressure. And we know that high blood pressure is a leading cause of heart disease and strokes. In the past, it has been stated that drinking alcohol, like perhaps a glass of red wine a day, could actually help with heart health. That now is a bit controversial. If you don't drink, we definitely don't recommend that you start drinking. And the one thing that is not controversial is that excessive alcohol use definitely can cause heart disease. Be sure to watch my video on 15 foods to avoid if you have high blood pressure after you finish watching this video. Number 3, increased risk for cancer. Excessive alcohol use has been associated with an increased risk for cancer. According to a study published in The Lancet, in just 1 year, excessive alcohol use was associated with 741,000 of all of the new cancer cases globally. That's 4.1%. In another study, alcohol was found to be associated with 400,000 cancer deaths. Alcohol use can increase your risk for throat cancer, for other oral cancers or mouth cancer. It can increase your risk for cancer of the esophagus, which is that tube between the mouth and the stomach. It can increase your risk for liver cancer, for colon cancer, rectal cancer. Alcohol use has also been associated with breast cancer. Number 4, impaired brain function. Impaired brain function is a huge danger of how alcohol can affect you. So the alcohol has different effects of the brain, both short-term and long-term. It is considered to be a central nervous system depressant. When you take in alcohol, it can cause impaired brain function, impaired cognitive or thinking ability. It can affect your memory. It can slow your body movements. It can cause slow or slurred speech. We know these things can happen with alcohol. At the same time, alcohol can also cause a euphoria. It can cause a euphoria and happiness. It can cause an increase in dopamine release, the reward center, an increase in serotonin. It can affect the part of your brain that controls your balance, which is why you can get a wobbly gait or a wobbly way that you walk when you have alcohol. Alcohol can also affect your impulse control, things that you normally wouldn't say, things that are found socially unacceptable. If you have alcohol on board, you might just say them or do them. Alcohol can also affect your sex life. It can increase your desire for sex. It can increase your arousal, but it can decrease your ability to sexually perform. Remember that. Now, some of the long-term dangers of how alcohol affects the brain: memory loss. Some studies suggest that alcohol affects your memory. It can even be associated with a dementia. Alcohol can be associated with brain shrinking, like a decrease in the volume of the brain. It can definitely affect your cognitive function, your ability to have high executive functioning, to be able to carry out tasks. Even small amounts of alcohol, like less than a drink a day, in some studies, it's been associated with a loss of brain volume. But definitely there can be a dose dependence, meaning the more that you drink or the more frequently you drink, the worse effects it can have on your brain. Number 5, addiction and dependence. Excessive alcohol use can definitely lead to an addiction and dependence, and this is how it works. When you drink alcohol, it leads to euphoria or a very happy feeling. What happens is the alcohol causes a release of your body's endorphins, which are like your endogenous morphines or opioids. This triggers a release of dopamine, which causes a pleasure in your reward center. It also triggers a release of serotonin, which can cause a very light or happy mood. Well, you drink the alcohol, you have this euphoria, but then the more and more alcohol you drink, especially with repeated use, well, you develop a tolerance. So that means that it takes more alcohol to get the same level of euphoria. So how do you know if you may have a level of dependence or addiction when it comes to alcohol? Well, there is a tool called the Cage questionnaire, which has been used historically. Do you feel like you need to cut down on alcohol? Do you get annoyed when people ask you about your alcohol use?
So
Do
gas
you
can't
ever
go.
feel guilty about the amount of alcohol you use? Do you need an eye opener? In other words, you wake up in the morning and the first thing you need to do is grab alcohol. If you're answering yes to these questions, then it's something to consider. You could have some type of a dependence on alcohol. That's just a screening tool. Also, if you find yourself having frequent cravings for the alcohol, if you're using the alcohol despite physical problems or social problems that may be causing, if you find yourself doing activities while drinking alcohol that you know you shouldn't be doing, for example, if you're driving after having excessive alcohol use, that could be a sign that you have an alcohol dependence. You definitely want to have a conversation with your physician if you think that you may have an alcohol dependence. And you can also reach out to groups like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. If your body becomes physically dependent on alcohol, you can get withdrawal symptoms when you stop. You can get a high heart rate, you can even get high fever, you can get anxiety, you can get very intensely agitated. If you develop a very strong physical dependence on alcohol, you can even get something called delirium tremens, DTs. And these usually occur a few days after going without alcohol. And you can get high fever, you can get tremors, you can get seizures, you can even die with the delirium tremens. Without a doubt, there are many dangers in how alcohol can affect your body and your brain. And the real frightening thing is that so many people have excessive use of alcohol and don't even realize it. You don't have to be someone who's falling down and inebriated and smelling like alcohol and can't hold a job and embarrass yourself in public. You don't have to be that loud, stereotypical, intoxicated person to have a problem with alcohol. So be honest with yourself. And if any of those questions I asked or any of those things I mentioned that could let you know that you may have dependence, if that rings true with you, seek help.
Hey, y'all, we had 56 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So everybody get their last remarks. I want to say this first, right? When we get off of here in the group chat, and Ivy, you too, you heard me. Let's come up. We need to come up with some topics for next week early, so I could do, you know what I'm saying, my research and stuff. You know what I'm saying. So could we come up with some topics maybe either tonight or by in the morning? You know what I'm saying. Um, we gonna start with our final thoughts. You heard me. What you think, man?
I think just say no. That's what I think. I mean, I mean, I look at I have been around a lot of family members that drink and stuff like that, and it made me not want to drink. And even when my son was murdered, and people would tell me take a Valium or take a drink, I wouldn't do none of that because I'm just gonna be out for the moment. But when that way out me reality kick in, I'm still gonna have to face those same trials and error. So
Yep.
I think the best thing is to just, if you can fight it, to say no, and like you say, like OG say, spiritually fast and pray, get with groups and stuff, AA, anything that can help you. Also, you have to change your friends. When
Yep.
if I'm trying to kick it and my friends not, that's not a good habit for me. That's not a good environment for me. So I have to, switch up on my friends. I mean, I'm better than you, but I'm trying to help me, and that's not going to help me. That's my thoughts of it.
Thanks. Thanks. What you got, Miss Ivy?
I agree with Miss Dorothy. What you
Okay.
need to do is find the perfect group that's headed in the direction you're headed in, um, and spiritually sound, because this is um for it's part of with sorcery. If they can
Right.
get you under the influence and open up your spirit for possession. All of this goes hand in hand. When they teach you spirituality, even in the Bible, they mention uh, forms of sorcery and witchcraft. And they also, in the Bible, talks about pharmaceuticals. Anything that keeps you out of your sane mind is opening you up for possession and destroying your body and your shell to grab hold of your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because without the shell, there, where the spirit gonna be at, under possession and taken wherever. So to protect your flesh and to protect your spirit, stay away from overdoing anything. Anything is too bad for you. You know what I'm saying? So a little too much water or drown. You know what I'm saying? Just by drinking too much water. So let's make sound decisions and keep our spirit safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
What you got, OG?
I just advise people to be spiritually sound. And if you know you have addictive behavior, addictive personality, or that addiction runs in your family, then do your best to avoid people who indulge simply for the purpose of pleasure, because that's going to get you in trouble fast.
Thanks. And I'm gonna say, educate yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people do a lot of stuff not knowing the ramifications, or not knowing what come from it, or not knowing the
Right,
consequences, or how deep the consequences is. A lot of people think it's just for fun and entertainment, but they really do have some spiritual ramifications to it. You really do leave yourself vulnerable, open from everything that you say that you're trying to avoid. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of invite it in your body, and like you get punished for stuff more when you know about it. So if you know about it and you know this is how this is a way that the spirits get in your body, it's the easy way that they get in your body, it's the easy way that they can take over your mind, it's the easy way that you are vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like you put yourself out into like a victim state. And if you willingly do that, you know what I'm saying, and you're willingly allowing these things to happen to you, you know what I'm saying? And then it goes from an addiction to a spiritual thing. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, why would you want to be a vessel for evil? You know, I'm not judging people. I'm just saying that that's a vessel for like that's a direct vessel for evil. Anything is right, but like anything is a gateway. Like negativity is, but something like that, like when you know better, you do better. If you don't, you get punished harder for it. You know what I'm saying? That's how God is. I don't know why he like that. He need to chill. But you know what I'm saying? That's how he is. You heard me? So if you know better, then you get charged like worse than people who ignorant to the facts. So we giving y'all facts, you know what I'm saying? So y'all ain't got no excuses and y'all ain't got no you can't see it, you ain't know about it. You don't know about it because you choose to ignore it or you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? But do your own research. Everything is biblically uh, verified on this station, you heard me? You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got. Yeah, we good.
Yes, sir.
We will see everybody Monday. Thank y'all. I had a good time. You heard me?
So.
All day.
All right, love y'all.
Love you too.